Hello, and welcome to Demiplane, and welcome back to the Claw Firm, Feather, Whisker, and Horn. I'm your game master, Mark Meer, and with me are your player characters. Let us meet them now, beginning with Aliza. Ooh.
Oh, going first?
It's
Hi.
always going to be different. Always going to be
Yeah.
different.
Yeah, change it up. All right. Hi, my name is Aliza Pearl. You can find me at Aliza Pearl on Twitter and Instagram, and also the real Aliza Pearl on TikTok with a Z, Aliza with a Z. I am playing Pegasi, our dear sweet enigma wrapped in a mystery, wrapped in a tree exoskeleton, who's also an alchemist, makes elixirs and bombs and things. She, they.
Jody.
I'm Jody Houser. You can find me on Twitter at Jody_Houser and Instagram at the Jody Houser. I am playing Hortense Pricklepaw, who is a catfolk magus who is now, I guess, very pro worker rights. So magical jorts. And
And has taken a life.
see her.
Erika.
Hi, I'm Erika Fermina. You can find me across all social media at AStylePixie. And today I am playing Calla Lilly, your tiefling summoner who helped organize a goblin union. And my pronouns and Calla Lily's pronouns are both she, her.
Xander.
Hi, I'm Xander Jeanerret. You can find me at Xanderific with 2 R's and 1 F. And today I'm playing Cornette, the silent priest who drafted up the Union Goblin. Both of us use he, him pronouns, and I'm very excited to see and get a good grade for going out and doing our assignment.
And Bluejay.
Hi, everybody. I'm Bluejay. You can find all my links on the internet over on my Twitter at Bluejay_712. I am playing today Violette, the garish thief. I am a swashbuckling Tengu. I'm very, very excited to continue this adventure. But maybe Violette is learning that not everything can be solved with a rapier, but lots of things, lots of very important things. And both my and Violette's pronouns are she, her.
And these are your player characters. These are the characters that we find exiting a carriage, returned to the firm of Feather, Whisker, and Horn in Absalom, the city at the center of the world. After a very successful mission, as mentioned, solved in a rather unconventional way. Perhaps real social change is on its way, who can say? But in any case, in one small corner of the world, certain concepts have been introduced, and they manage to let you achieve your goal without bloodshed. Without, I should say, further bloodshed. There is, of course, 2 chests which you are taking out of this carriage as Mr. Whisker, Mr. Horn, and Ms. Feather stand in the courtyard awaiting your return.
Violette hops down from the carriage and immediately starts trying to impress Mrs. Feather with a very largely acted out tale of how Violette solved everything, and definitely downplays everyone else's contribution. Yeah.
Very well. Oh, and as a reminder, of course, before you make that first roll, I'll let everyone know that you do have hero points. You start the session with 1 hero point. Between sessions, of course, they'll essentially reset to 0. So spend those hero points.
No rollover hero points.
No roll over hero points. No, but per session, yes. And you're all starting with 1. So could I please get from Violette a performance check?
Yes.
Or roll, rather.
Yes, she's gesticulating wildly, maybe even like pulls out her rapier to do a little like swoosh, swoosh and like demonstrate the perforation, of course, really important. And I rolled a 19 and my performance is +5, so 24. This tale is like done big. Like at the end you would expect to see curtains coming down and yeah. No, she really immerses everybody.
Yes. Yes, yes. It is quite impressive, and Ms. Feather does seem impressed. Question, so you are essentially relating the tale of the adventure that you just went on.
Yes.
How many pertinent details do you include? There's...
So I
Do you-
believe that by the time Violette gets to the city again, the tale has become how she defeated all 4 or 5 goblin brothers by herself while everyone else stood back and she protected them. And there was like she doesn't even mention any unionization. It was that she intimidated them into backing down when they tried to attack in the middle of the night, just by being like this larger than life figure in her cape. Yeah, it's not realistic to everyone else.
We do know that it's a very entertaining story. Do you want to actually attempt to deceive with it?
I feel like every single other person present could very easily say that it's not true, so I don't think that a deception roll is really necessary.
In fact, in pulling out a receipt, Cornette pulls out a listing of like minutes per se that Hortense and he have put together. Basically a mission debriefing outlining everything in detail of what actually happened.
And during
yes,
during Violette's performance, Calla Lilly will just sort of like nod and be like, yeah, that happened. And then when something happened that didn't happen, she would just go,
But it's important that the tale be told, okay?
Right.
Of course. And Ms. Feather in particular, that's who we were trying to impress, does seem quite appreciative. She's like, oh, very, very, very good. You know,
I feel like
very imaginative. Very imaginative.
Steve gets wrapped in as like a background player as well in the whole tale.
I mean, he's there, so you gotta... Oh, I've been telling him the story, like, while we were driving, so maybe he, like, makes interjections and comments.
Yeah, he's your hype man. He's your hype man. They had been eyeing him and like, yes, as I say, very imaginative, Violette. This is the aforementioned Steve, I take it.
That's me.
I see, and you've entered into a contract with Steve. I'm not sure how binding that is, given that you are not authorized, but I'm sure we can make accommodations, especially considering how well things seem to have gone. At this point, Mr. Horn sort of bustles forward, like,
Hello, Lilly. Are you all right?
because, of course, even though a lot of the damage was healed magically, your ribbons and your dress are probably scorched with fire and torn. There's probably blood on it.
Mm-hmm. Oh, you know, I got into some scuffles, but you know, I'm doing all right.
Scuffles. Let me see those. And all 3 partners briefly huddle around this dossier that you've provided them, Cornette, and they actually like so. Mr. Whisker is in the middle holding it, and the other 2 sort of come in on the sides. And you notice he's flipping through the pages very rapidly, but their eye, none of them say slow down or anything. They just seem to be quickly picking this up.
Speed reading.
Fascinating.
Yes, most ingenious.
Yes, but it does say here that you were in great danger, at least initially.
Yes, well, that's where I came in.
There were some threats on our lives, yes.
I told you they were not ready.
Oh, come now. The fact that they are here, standing before us, shows they clearly were.
Yes, and your solution was, yes, ingenious, I suppose.
Yes, I'm sorry, my child. I do not mean to cast a pall upon your victory, but I worry, you understand.
I understand.
Very well, then. It seems all of you have acquitted yourselves admirably. And
he looks at the number on the sheet.
really,
And sort of snaps his fingers, and Gigvit comes forward like,
oh yeah, I'll just get the. Oh, these are heavy. Just okay. I'm gonna push these along the ground if you don't mind.
as he sort of swears away the 2 chests of gold, which I believe was around 500 gold pieces total,
Exactly. Yeah.
which is quite impressive.
Yes, and you negotiated these terms with Mr. Scudge.
We started with 5%. Settled
10.
for. Oh, we started with 10. Oh, right. Settled for 2.
Still, having dealt with Mr. Scudge in the past, you did very well. Now then, this fellow,
Hey, Steve.
this Steve, what exactly had you envisioned for his place here at the firm?
He will be my squire.
Well, you squire? Well, that sounds like a lot of work. I was hoping for something a little cushier. You know,
Don't
a
worry,
little-
Cornette cleans everything anyway.
Oh, all right. I can stay here when you're doing dangerous things, though, right?
Oh, as my squire, you must come and assist me putting on my armor. And
That's why I don't really find that. It's more of yeah, it's a bit demeaning, really. It's a bit demeaning. I was thinking maybe some light filing. Be a receptionist. I'm the receptionist. All right. I'm not trying to take anyone's job or nothing, but squire sounds just so. You know, I'm not really one for the monarchy and feudalism and all that. So.
Would you like to call it an intern? You liked that
I
terminology
like
before.
that. Intern.
Yes, intern.
Yeah. Highly paid, I assume.
Yes, yes.
We can discuss your terms later. You should know that these young ones perhaps exceeded their authority in offering you a position at the firm, but I'm sure we can find something.
Yes. Welcome, Steve. Now then,
Are you all quite recovered? You would have, of course, on the way home, probably had time for a long rest.
Okay.
So,
that was my question.
Yeah.
yes. Yeah. So long rest. You have had time to rest. So you are recuperated, I will say, especially because you have access to healing magic. and
Mhm.
whatnot. You're all back at full hit points, and any expended abilities have been restored to you. It did actually take longer to come back because Steve kept demanding excessive pit stops,
Oh.
and was just like,
Small bladder, what can I do?
so you did. It took you quite a bit longer to get home than it did to get out there. So you did have time to camp and rest and whatnot. As Steve is sort of escorted away by Gigvit, Ms. Feather turns to the rest of you.
and tell me, what was your experience out in the field? I've read the report, of course, but I want to hear it from you.
With this, Cornette will go up in a familiar way to Miss Feather and sort of brush the side of her owlish cheek and cast message to convey thoughts through his mind. It was
It's a two-way communication, correct?
yes. We can do like one message there and one message back, sort of thing. It was fantastic. It was just like we had read about, and we were able to really help people.
And, not too much mayhem on your sister's behalf?
With that, he breaks the connection, and you just see a mischievous, no.
Yes. And she says out loud, "I noticed you broke the connection there." All right.
Very well. I am very pleased to see you all hale and hearty, though perhaps a little disheveled. No doubt you all wish to tidy yourselves, wash the dust of the road from your cloaks, so they say.
Violette probably like looks down as though like, what are you talking about?
I speak metaphorically, Violette.
Sure.
Would you like something to... Could I make you a sandwich? Would you like a sandwich?
No, I'll go to sleep. Immediately to bed, and I will stay in my room and be sleeping and not go out.
Very well. You must be exhausted.
And she does seem to know, by this point, she knows what you're saying. But usually there's at least one word of admonishment or two, or a tut-tut. This is absent this time.
Huh.
Mr. Whisker crosses over to Hortense. It's like,
And you, child.
Well, I mean, it was definitely a little scary, you know, when there was a bunch of goblins who seemed like they were going to attack, and then one set some of my friends on fire, and it was really upsetting. And I kind of killed him, but he was already engaged in combat with our client and had threatened our lives, so it seemed the best approach at the time. I not necessarily second guessing what I did. I mean, it's all in the dossier. I think it's pretty clear that it was a reasonable self-defense and defense on behalf of my fellow employees and our client.
I have read the report, and I do not doubt you were justified. But to take a life is no easy thing. I know this. Still, you have nothing to be ashamed of.
I'm glad that the union worked and we didn't have to kill anyone else. I think that was better.
No, these other goblins, they seemed more pressed into service than anything else. The ringleaders, however, another matter. I have, of course, spoken with Mr. Scudge at length about his brothers and have his full opinion on the matter.
Have you killed a lot of people?
Would you like a list?
That's okay, thank you.
Wise.
Gigvit, having got Steve settled somewhere, comes over to Pegasi. It's like, how was it out there?
It is interesting to be loyal to a person, a client, you might call them, no matter what they show of themselves. I found myself questioning, is this person really worthy of our allegiance? But we were already there and already engaged, and it also was easier to stay loyal to the person that we had come there to help. And so I found it very intriguing on a moral standpoint to find my way through this adventure with my companions and be questioning our allegiances.
Well, I mean, if you're talking about Scudge, yeah, I met him. I met him when he came here to employ the firm. He's a cranky fella. He didn't like his brothers. Yeah, I'll tell you that. But from what I understand, they were not nice people. They were terrible folks.
Yes, he said much of the same.
You know, brigands and murderers and that kind of thing.
Yes, he was glad they were dead.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. He talked about that a lot. I don't know what he's gonna do with his life from now on, to be honest.
Will his life now lose meaning because he has no enemies?
Well, and he's got a lot of money.
Gigvit sees.
I mean, it sounds
yeah.
pretty good. All your enemies dead and having a lot of money. I think he's gonna be fine. I think he's gonna be just fine.
It sounds like he is primed to get very bored with his life and do something reckless, like spend all his money on something frivolous.
Could be. I mean, I have to ask though. How was it? The thrill of the adventure.
Oh, it was quite enjoyable. It was enjoyable to see my companions. We all rise to the occasion and to see what we all could do when we were pressed for time and pressed to make decisions. It was quite engaging.
Yeah, I can tell. I've never seen you this excited.
Yeah, Gigvit sees the leaves kind of like rustling excitedly.
I mean, that's a lot of rustling.
Yes.
And as you have your conversation, Mr. Horn continues to fuss over Calla. It's just like,
You're sure you're all right?
Yes, I do think that maybe I should have stayed back a little bit because I don't think I'm really good in hand-to-hand situations. I
hand
learned.
to hand. He runs back to the thing. He's like, oh yes, it says it right here. Hand.
Please, Calla, you must remember that it's not necessarily the front lines where the battle is to be won.
Well, I was already there, and they were threatening us, and it was, but he had blade hands, so that was scary, but also kind of cool. But I had, and I just show him my, I'll like flash the claws. I'll just do a little, but I did this, so I felt like it was kind of
Yes.
evenly matched. But
I am aware. I believe it was I who first taught you that incantation.
But it was, yes, the front lines is a little more intense. Oh, Shimmer killed someone.
Oh,
Just
well.
Pops out.
Good girl, Shimmer. Good girl.
It was very new. All very new.
Well, I am very pleased to see that you made it home safely.
You can thank Cornette for that.
So I shall. I believe I shall.
And as Mr. Horn sort of makes his way out, he does stop right beside you, Cornette, and just gives his nod, which you take to be, that's about the warmest he gets with anyone besides Calla.
Understood. A return gesture of gratitude.
Now then, I suppose, well, some free time, I think, to ponder the lessons you have learned and take your well-earned rest. And at this, you are basically free to do what you want. There are quarters here for you, though they are sort of smaller guest quarters there as opposed to the rooms on the estate. Do you want to remain in the city? Do you want to return to your estates? What would you like to do?
I
I-
want to go meet up with my group of ruffians and tell them all about how cool I am.
It's basically Newsies, the musical.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, so we can actually just sort of we can assume
Oh, yeah.
that you slip away, especially because apparently the authorities, as it were, are turning a blind eye tonight. So you do slip away. Where is the usual meeting place for these band of ruffians?
So I think that obviously in the city you're probably not like kicked out of a bar or pub or tavern or whatever if you're younger, but I feel like these kids are like, I don't want to hang out with the grown-ups, and she's not like really like a grown-up yet, so there's probably like a bit younger than a tavern, like I don't know, there's a second like an arcade
Clubhouse.
a clubhouse of some sort where Violette has like found a group of like young pickpockets and the like who are like it's definitely like
Oliver.
ne'er-do-wells, but this is where she learns like all the thievery and stuff is through...
Yeah, it's a weird mix between Oliver and like the Little Rascals.
Yeah, so it's
Hair sticking up.
yeah, imagine it's like an arcade, but whatever the Pathfinder version of an arcade is.
I'm gonna say it's basically an abandoned building. It's the top floor of an inn that's been closed, and there's a way to get in through one of the top floor
Oh, yeah.
windows.
That's
Nobody
definitely-
necessarily knows you're there.
Yeah, and so I know that I can find people there. And like we meet up and like I send one of the little ones off, like, go gather everybody. I have to tell you this incredible story. And
Sure,
then
yeah. Everyone has a colorful nickname. There's Eyeball and Bottle Cap and Blood Gum, and yeah, there's a bunch of them, and they're all like
Oh yeah, hey Violette, yeah, good to see you. Hey,
no, I
yeah,
have a
yeah.
cool code name. It's like Bird Brain or something.
Oh yeah, hey, yeah, boy, brain, yeah, good to see
Yeah.
you. Yeah.
And I'm like, look
what's
at
the
my
rumpus? What's the
cape,
rumpus?
everybody. I'm very important and have a very cool story to tell you.
sure.
Yeah, and
And,
I embellish, of course, because nobody. I don't know if anyone of these people have met my professional friends, so I get to take all of the glory even more than when they were
Of course.
around. Yeah.
If you mention them, it's as like your assistants, or maybe even like you have a bunch of squires.
Yeah,
Who knows?
Exactly.
Uh,
Exactly.
so give me a performance. Do you want to do deception? Do you want to do performance?
Performance for sure.
Okay.
This is
So
a
it's a
show. Yeah.
Mhm.
I'm like playing all of the parts and like changing, like putting
Mhm.
my cape on and off to show which one is me.
Mhm. You're the one
Um,
in the cape always.
obviously,
Who
that's me.
shows up?
So an 18 plus 5 is a 23.
Yeah, they love it.
Heck
Yeah,
yeah.
there's lots of backslapping and like huzzahs. Uh, yeah, it's huzzah, but in that accent. Huzzah! Meanwhile, what is everyone else up to? Cornette, let's start with you. While your twin is off impressing the gang, what are you doing?
If I could, Cornette will reach out to Hortense to sort of take her hand and take her along with. And he's going to make his way to the Temple of Sarenrae that is close by. And it's a very quiet, obviously, walk, but there's not even the gestures of friendliness that go through. It's more of like a solemn sort of remembrance walk. And as they come to the temple, Cornette takes out some of the bronze coins that were found on the bodies and walks right up to the altar that's there. There's sunlight that I assume that the still dappling through the windows, and he sets 4 or 5 of those coins, however many bodies there were, and similar to the ritual that he did 4 of them having the glowing coins on their eyes or their chest, he now ignites each one for one of these and sits in a prayerful motion in front of it and gestures for Hortense to join.
I assume Hortense has come with Cornette here before, but this is very different than anything
Right.
we've done at the temple. So I think she's a little hesitant, but she gets what this is for, and like she gets why he specifically brought her. So she does go and sit and concentrate, and she's not as good at meditation as he is, but she will make her best attempt.
And almost as if in response to a spirit moving on to the next phase, each of the coins gradually lose their light and extinguish.
And so, we move from this peaceful scene in the temple. Where do we find Calla Lilly?
Calla has gone back to her room in her tower. She could sense how upset Mr. Horn was, or how her sort of disheveled appearance caused him a bit of emotional distress. So she's decided
Mostly
to...
it was the blood and burn marks that he was
Yes,
concerned.
so she figured she should wash some of the blood and soot off of her. So she puts on a fresh dress, rebraids her hair, washes, but she doesn't wash her burned, blood-stained dress. She hangs it up in sort of a place of honor in her room because she's proud of what they did, and she just wants to take it in.
And while Calla Lilly is hanging, I guess, a memento of your first battles, what is Pegasi doing?
Cassie is going to stay in the city, and I'd like to explore the claw firm's grounds. Like, what is there to see if I just walk around?
As mentioned, you've seen before the back courtyard where you did your training, or at least you're demonstrating your abilities before you set off. There is, of course, plenty of storage. A lot of it is files, and there are offices for each of the three partners. There is a boardroom. There is a sort of reception area for and sort of like a sitting area for potential clients. And of course, there are quarters. You'd all have to, if you're staying the night here, you'd all have to essentially share a couple of common rooms. But you do know that in their offices, the partners also have quarters here. But of course, they also have estates, which are not too long of a commute away.
Are the files like locked up or anything?
Gigvit is responsible for that, and you have seen him wearing like a big ring of keys.
I'm gonna go to Gigvit and say, "Excuse me, Gigvit.
Oh, hey, Pegasi, how's it going?
It's going well.
Hmm?
I was wondering if you might let me read the file on our client, Scudge. I would
Oh,
like to educate myself more on the case that we were a part of."
All right, somewhere around here. I mean, I know you were in direct contact with him, so this might be stepping on a few toes protocol-wise, but because it's you, here you go.
Thank you very much. And Pegasi's going to, retreat to like a sitting room, open the file, and read it.
So any particular information that you're looking or areas that you want to search out? A lot of it was already in the dossier. It was
Mhm.
basically just copies, the stuff that Cornette had that he'd been given. So you don't find a ton of new information.
Okay.
There are some transcripts of conversations with Scudge, his initial interview and whatnot, and it's all in Gigvit's hand because he usually is the stenographer. He takes notes. There there are lots of mentions about how much he hates his brothers, and there are also some accounts where he'd just sort of ramblingly go on about just all the horrible things his brothers had ever done. And there's like personal slights and injuries, but also it does sound like they were just awful. They were just terrible. And his uncle in particular was always trying to turn them against his father, which is one of the reasons why he always hated all four of them.
Mhm. Is there a file? Oh, actually, I'll go back to Gigvit and return this file and say, is there a separate file on Uncle Scum?
Well, no, not he wasn't our client. Pretty much any information you're looking on him would be in there.
I see.
The information that was in that file specifically regarding Scum was yes, there was indications, like you could certainly, knowing what you know now, it's like, oh yes, they probably knew he was a spellcaster, and that he essentially had been at odds with his brother for a long time. His brother was the elder son, and so had inherited wealth. The vault that you saw that had quite a bit of gold in it. You took 2%, and it was still more than you had seen in your life. There's little more beyond that, and
Mhm.
and again, almost everything is from the client's perspective.
Mhm.
But
Um,
having met him, you're like, yeah, I guess I mean, you're pretty sure he wasn't terribly pleasant. He wasn't pleasant when you were dealing with him.
mhm. So yeah, after returning the file to Gigvit, Pegasi says to Gigvit, I am pondering the dynamics of families. It is very confusing.
What do you mean?
Well, I'm trying to gauge whether Scudge's family dynamic is typical for other families.
Well, I mean, from what I could gather, Scudge he's pretty cranky, like I mentioned, but he was a straight shooter, from what I can gather,
Mm.
and the rest of his family not so much, or at least his uncles and his brothers.
So he was, I've heard a term, black sheep?
Black sheep. Yes, I guess so.
Oh, although he and his dad saw eye to eye, so
And
sometimes families fight.
and once his father passed away, he was alone.
I suppose so. But now he's got all his money to keep him company. And that
Mm.
union you formed. I'm sure that won't give him any headaches whatsoever.
I
That said,
s-
he seemed like a much more equitable employer than his uncle.
yes, I suppose so. And I hope that he will be safe from his uncle, and his uncle does not return to cause more problems.
I don't know. It depends if there's a season 2, I guess.
Another season of life.
No,
Yes.
the next season, which it would be fall because we're in summer right now.
Yes, I see. Thank you, Gigvit.
Yes. Well, anything I can do to help? Don't tell anybody. I'll let you see that file because I'm supposed to clear that with other people.
Thank you, Gigvit.
And is there anything else anybody would like to attend to on their first evening home? If not, then you awake in the morning. And you are all essentially summoned into the same meeting room that you have been briefed in before. The partners are there. Like, well, I certainly hope everyone enjoyed their evening of rest and sleep. Hmm?
Violette is yawning as though not much rest or sleep occurred.
Yes, in any case, we are very pleased with your success in the first task which we set you. And we believe that, yes, this is going to work out nicely. It is good to have agents that we know we may trust implicitly. The next task that we have for you, perhaps I should let Mr. Whisker take it from here. Yes, there is a rather, shall we say, pedestrian matter we wish you to attend to. Certainly, it should be nothing on the level of what you've already faced, so this shouldn't be a problem at all. Sadly, when one peddles one's services on the open market, there are on occasions, how shall I say, delinquent customers.
Yes, yes. Our services have been employed, and we perform them, but a certain client of ours has declined to pay. We've sent numerous correspondence, but received no response.
And as we know, correspondence without response is just codence. So, to that end, we wish to be a little more forceful in our next inquiries. Rather than simply sending a letter, we are going to send all of you.
Yes, it may seem somewhat unseemly, but we're not sending you as thugs, merely as reminders. If you don't want to show up en masse, that's fine as well. But just make sure that the client knows we wish to be paid, and he is long past due.
Who is
Sure.
Yes, the client in question goes by the name of Cadaverous. Quite sure that is not the name he was born with. He is a practitioner of the magical arts, and specifically, well, he is concerned with the animation of the once living.
Yes, a necromancer, to put it in colloquial terms. However, we have it on good authority that he has scrupulously sourced his raw material. In fact, that was one of the reasons that he. Oh, yes, yes, very good. That was one of the reasons why he first engaged our services. There was the matter of how to obtain said raw material, and he struck upon the idea of paying people to donate their material post mortem, as it were. Yes. That is not the matter that we seek payment on. It was a more recent affair. Yes, this cadaverous. The local government had seized something he had imported as some sort of archaeological artifact. He, of course, found himself in need of our legal knowledge, and we were able to pull the right levers, as it were. The object was returned to him, and yet our payment was not forthcoming. And as mentioned, he cut off all communication whatsoever.
Hmm.
So, remind him of his obligations, if you would.
So you would say that
Yes,
the necromancer ghosted you?
oh, yes. Yes, I see what you did there. Yes. Very good. Very good indeed. Yes, yes.
I fail to find the humor in this, but very well. This is a business matter and should be attended to immediately. Now then, cadavers, here we are. Appropriate dossiers. There we are.
And gives them over to Cornette. And I know you shall employ the correct amount of diligence. We must meet with others. Gigvit, if you would. Yes, sir. I'm ready to write things down.
Yeah, well, we'll do it in the meeting with the client, if you don't mind.
Oh, right. That's happening now. I'll go. Okay, I shouldn't be here. I should be there. And they all sort of bustle out together, leaving you in this room with this dossier.
Mhm.
Yeah, with Hortense, I think Cornette will sort of spread it out over the table in the similar style that they did in the carriage.
And yes, so the client in question does go by the name Cadaverous. You do see that he did actually have his name legally changed at some point. There's some information in there. There is also information on where he lives. It's basically his address. You understand that he has a residence. One assumes that he also conducts business from there.
Mhm.
There is mention of a couple of apprentices and a household staff. If you want to go any further into that, I can give you names.
Actually,
Sorry.
about the artifact, that's what the seized artifact that was then returned and the payment wasn't given. Is there any detail about that?
Yeah, it was essentially it was all seized on a sort of import tax thing that was the municipal government employs, and it just got tied up in a lot of red tape. And he essentially hired Feather, Whisker, and Horn to cut through said red tape. He did shell out a fair bit of money to them, and he also he'd employed some other firms before, but they hadn't been successful. But Feather, Whisker, and Horn was able to help him out. Again, it's like he had paid for services in the past, including the aforementioned one where he wanted to pay people and like have legal contracts drawn up to pay people that after they died he would get their bones or their bodies.
And what was the artifact?
It was some sort of statuette.
Okay.
There's like, they keep referring to it as an artifact. You do see there's like a description of it. Apparently, it had a lot of skulls on it. So, like as one might expect for an artifact that
Classic.
Metal.
Can I do an Arcana
Yeah.
check on that to see if that sounds like anything I've read about?
Sure.
That's a 12 total.
Well, the necromancers like stuff with skulls on it.
I've heard that before.
There was a great necromancer named Hot Topic.
Very impassioned.
He really brought it into the fore. And yeah, so even though they deal with real skulls and bones, they like skulls and bones carved on things too.
Sure. Can Pegasi do an occultism check?
Ooh.
Yes, you may.
Okay, I'm rolling a different d20 because
Yeah.
no bueno. Oh my god!
Oh no.
No.
I got a 4 total.
Oh no.
You haven't even heard of Hot Topic.
Topic.
Ooh.
Sounds intriguing.
But yes, this is like I say, I can give you. Well, I might as
Yeah.
well give you names. So his apprentices are named Wheelday and Pug. There is, as I say, a household staff. Most prominent among them is a butler named Osgood. And aside from that, there's a cook named Cheevers and a maid by the name of Bertha.
Is his residence located in the city?
It's on the outskirts, but no more than an hour, hour and a half commute, even if the streets are clogged.
What were the names of the apprentices again?
Wheelday, that's Wealday, and Pug, Pug. Oh, and by the way, when you do also see there's some paperwork for Steve on the table.
Ah.
And you note that Steve spells his name ST and then 7 E's and a V.
Steve.
And a V.
And this is basically the extent of the information that is within the dossier.
Is there a sketch of Cadaverous so that we can recognize on site?
I'm going to say yes.
Okay,
Yeah, I think we established that they have like an artist on staff.
Yeah.
And, yes, and he is quite cadaverous. And beyond that, yes, the one thing I think I started to mention was you note that he paid the firm for services in the past in full and on time, and he simply has ignored all follow-up correspondence since.
2 questions. What does cadaverous look like? And when was the last, like, what was the gap between the last paid invoice and then the first unanswered message, if that makes sense?
I answered what he looks like. He does, as I mentioned, he looks cadaverous. He's like very, high cheekbones, sunken cheeks, sort of sunken eye sockets as well. Tall, bald. He tends to wear a metal skull cap with a sort of sigil on it.
Is he like of a human type of ancestry?
Yes, he does. Yes, he does appear to be a human.
Okay.
It's hard to tell because it's only from here up. He may be a centaur. You can't see his bottom half. But I'd say they probably have that sort of included. It's not like they say height, weight, or things like that, but they would probably mention that he is of the human extraction.
Okay. All right. And then the time between the last paid invoice and then how much time was between the last paid invoice and the first unanswered invoice?
I'm going to let's see. Yeah, I think this is fairly obvious. So you've got all the papers in front of you, and you're able to correlate. So I won't even make you roll for this. You do note, but it's important you asked. You do note that essentially he was making his payments regularly. The court case was successful. He basically took the object back into his possession. And then that's when all correspondence and payments stopped. He had one final payment, essentially. That was essentially the bulk of the payment for this job.
Okay.
I sort of look at Hortense looks at the others, and I mean, could he have just died? I mean, necromancers still die, as far as I know. So
Yeah, unless they have another necromancer to bring them back, I assume.
Yes,
Yeah.
he could have died. He also could have been compromised, taken over by this artifact or something living within the artifact.
it does have a lot of skulls on it.
I
Yes.
mean, that might be what we're getting sent to find out.
You had the potion to protect against the undead, right? That'll be useful.
And Cornette will pull out this green bottled potion that he has since labeled protection from undead.
How fortuitous.
It's pretty fortuitous. I don't know. How do we fight an object, though?
Maybe
Like, I can fight people. I could probably even fight corpses, and I might be able to fight a necromancer, but I don't know about how I'd fight an object.
Couldn't we just smash it?
But couldn't the necromancer have just smashed it?
Maybe he didn't realize it was a threat until it was too late.
But we know going in.
It could be, but
Well,
also,
that's something. That's not nothing.
also if he
Yes.
lost control of his undead, could they have just attacked him? Or I don't know, maybe like one of the undead got the sculpture and now is like king of the undead or queen of the undead or emperor. I don't know.
In the spare pocket, there's a little envelope that just says "Zombie Union." Just put that away, just in case.
Just in case, have it ready.
I mean, workers' rights don't end.
Workers' rights.
I mean, like this will probably work with a lot of people, I'm sure, but I don't know about every situation being fixed with a
Conceding
union.
gesture.
Well,
I
should we
mean,
just-
we got out of the last situation fairly unscathed. I feel like we can do this.
I think we are feeling confidence that is warranted. Shall we?
And so,
Yeah.
I assume you're going to just set out. As I mentioned, it's not too far away. Would you like to take the carriage?
Yes.
Take the company car? Why not? So,
It has
by
the symbol
carriage
on it. It's very
It's got the
official.
symbol. Exactly.
Oh, is this a new day or a same day?
This is a new day. You arrived basically in the late afternoon, early evening after taking a long time to get back because of Steve. You had a night's rest, woke up in the morning, so yeah, it's a new day.
I'm
Also-
redoing my infusions in that case.
Of course, yeah. You would have had time to do that in the morning before you came down for the meeting. And is there anything else any special equipment or anything that you're taking along the way, or just your typical stuff that you carry on your person? Of course, on the last time you had tents and sleeping bags and provisions and things like that.
Yeah, we don't need that
That's
this
all been unloaded.
Yeah.
Okay.
We probably won't need that since we're
Yeah.
just in town.
Yeah, it should be okay.
Okay.
I'm
Same.
trying to
So-
decide if Pegasi wants a shield. I think Pegasi will try out a shield this time.
Sure.
Yeah, there is some supplies here, and there is, as you know, a small armory. So a shield is an easy enough get. You've got, and Pegasi can manipulate a shield just like any humanoid would, right?
Yes, my rocket launcher, my bottom launcher is 2 hands. So if I'm using it, then I'll have to just sling the shield on and not really be using it.
Yes, because you only have 2 of your branches that are actually functional limbs, right?
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's up to you because the Konrasu can make lots of limbs and have lots of limbs, but I want to not be OP and
I'd say
have
that you
5
can-
different weapons.
that you can make lots of limbs, but mechanically it's sort of requires focus. So if
Right.
you're doing something in
Yeah.
combat, you effectively can only use 2 of them
Yeah. Okay.
to
Great.
any great effect.
Okay.
So you've got that, and yeah, the shield can just even just be on a branch that goes down when you're concentrating on your other 2 limbs that manipulate that. And of course, you do know that in Pathfinder, you do have to sort of raise your shield as an action to gain benefit. So you'd use one of your combat actions. So
I feel like this one came from the gift shop, so it also has the logo on it because it's just
yes, yeah.
like a branded frisbee.
Yeah, all the weapons that they have the little, the little maker's mark, the claw firm symbol. So, you make your way over to this place without incident, but you see it from a distance, and it's very clearly oh yeah, this is a necromancer's tower. He's had the doorway carved so it looks like a big skull.
Yeah.
It looks like it's basically permanently decorated for Halloween at the clearance sale at Spirit, or the fantasy equivalent thereof.
Sure.
And the tower also, its dimensions are, you can tell it's purposely built really skinny and pointy, And yeah, it's like, well, this must be the place when you arrive.
Just surrounded by like super normal looking buildings and houses.
Yeah.
too.
Yeah, it's like that one of the really goth black house, and then there's the pink house next
Yeah.
to it.
The
It's like
Adams
that's-
Family.
Yeah, exactly.
I
That's
don't
in Santa
know
Monica.
how much I'd like having a necromancer as a neighbor.
It's a spin-off show. My neighbor the necromancer.
But this is what you see, and there is a front gate. There is a walkway, door. It's all look imposing by design.
I suppose we're serving papers essentially.
Yeah. Wait, does someone have to like dress up as a florist or something?
Maybe. That's what I was thinking, like a disguise of some kind. Just
Do we-
carrying Pegasi as the flowers.
I mean, do we want to? I mean, I'm pretty sneaky. Do we want to do any sneaking?
Oh, maybe like reconnaissance before we go.
Yeah, reconnaissance. I'd be great at reconnaissance.
Or if we don't want to intimidate with a big group, maybe one person goes to the door and a couple of other people hide in the bushes.
I
No.
can.
stay outside. I'm not very good at stealth, but if I just stay still and someone maybe if I extend some leaves in front of my orb, I can just hide that way.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to. Is there? You said there was like a gate. There was like a fence.
Yeah, sort of a wrought iron fence, like tall, with the sort of pointy bits at the top, going around the whole property. And there's
Okay.
a large metal gate, and there is a walkway leading up to a big pair of double doors.
If I've learned anything, it's that it's easier to make decisions when you have more information. So I'm gonna go reconnaissance,
Mhm.
and then I'll come back, and we can figure out what might be the best way. So yeah, I want to attempt to sneakily scale the fence and see if I can get a better view of what's going down in Necromancer Town.
Very well. So you want to do it sneakily. Stealth, first of all.
Yes, I would like to be sneaky. We will see how that goes. 17 plus 7, I think is sufficient. 17 plus 7 is
that-
25.
That's quite good. In fact, all of the rest of you, Bluejay,
Violette.
Violette,
like-
Violette's,
She like
Violette,
hands
who
off
looks
her.
like a Bluejay.
She hands off her red cape to Cornette to hold so she can do some sneaking, and then like takes 2 steps away, and all of a sudden it's like, wait a second, where the?
Yeah, it's like, could you hold this cape? And it's like, yeah, sure. As you look down briefly at the cape and then look up, and she's pulled a Batman essentially. You're Commissioner Gordon standing on a
Yeah.
roof alone.
Okay.
As you are like a shadow again, like the whisper of wind, you sneak into this property. How are you getting in? Are you
I would
going
like
over
to-
the fence?
Yeah, I'm gonna pull some acrobatic maneuvers to
Acrobatics, please.
just slyly heft myself, flips maybe. I don't know. It's great. It's I get a math 13.
You're kind of glad that you're very well stealth because you're like, I could do better than that. But you
It
do get over
wasn't
the
as
fence.
cool looking, but thankfully, no one's
thankfully-
looking.
Yeah, people couldn't see if they were looking right at you. Almost,
Okay.
you're very surreptitious about this not terribly graceful, but still
it
functional,
succeeded?
like,
Okay.
practically functional.
Okay.
You get over the fence, and you're within the tall, unkempt grass which surrounds this property.
Yeah, so Violette's goal is to kind of first pause, check out if there's anything that looks, I don't know, like skeletons walking around or something, like anything that looks unsavory. And then if there's nothing in the yard that's like report backing, then maybe going up to some windows, peeking in, like if the windows are all blocked, and there's like a second story balcony or something, then that would be like the third attempt. But yeah, she's just trying to get an eye for what might be like any information about what's going on that we can make a better decision about how to approach this.
Roll me a d20 and add your perception.
Okie dokie. I'm gonna use my hero point to re-roll that too. And use a different die because you failed me one too many times. Okay, I got a 7 and I have a +6 perception. That's better than a 2. 13, I think.
Yeah, all seems quiet out here. You certainly don't see any ambulatory corpses or anything of that nature.
She was kind of hoping to see an ambulatory corpse, but that's okay. Maybe we can see one later. So yeah, she'll pause, look around, everything looks kosher, and then approach the building to see if she can peek through any windows.
There are some tall windows that you're able to you actually have to boost yourself up to get in. And these do have glass within. At one point, they were arrow slits, it seems, but it seems like they've been repurposed.
Mhm.
And you can see through this window a large study. You do note, with your quick glance, that it seems to be in disarray.
Okay. I don't know how necromancers keep their homes, but they could just be slovenly. There's no corpses on the ground or anything. I'm really looking out for the corpses. No?
You don't see any corpses on the ground.
Okay, so yeah, she'll kind of drop down from the window, sneak, go to the next one, be like, huh? Sneak. And I don't think she's gonna circumvent the entire castle, but just see if there's is there
So you're going around the whole property, right?
I think it's just the property, the wall that's facing my group. I don't think she wants to get completely out of range if something untoward were to happen and she needs to yell for help.
Okay, I mean it's a tower, so it's round.
It's a tower? If it's just the tower, I thought it was like a castle and no, if it's just the tower, then yeah, she would do a quick circle.
You do note as you come around to the back, near to probably, as I say, it's a fairly wide tower, fairly large tower, and you think that you're probably near where the sort of kitchen service entrance, and the door is ajar.
That's too tempting for a thief. I'm sorry. I love you guys, but a door is ajar, and I'm a thief. So, yeah, she's immediately going to be like, oh, I'm sorry. This is very unsafe.
As Violette enters the building without telling anyone, what's everybody doing out front?
I think Cornette will go up and sort of take the reins away from Calla Lilly, sort of understanding that maybe Calla Lilly and even Hortense would be a good face to have towards the door, and Cornette will stay with the horses.
That makes sense.
Yeah, Pegasi's just gonna be a tree, hiding in the tree. Just chilling,
Very well.
standing still.
So are you approaching the door then?
Yeah, I think on the way, Hortense would. Do you wanna be like the I guess good nice cop, and I'll be the scary cop with claws?
Sure. Should we have waited until Violette comes back, or?
We don't know how long that's gonna be, though.
That's true. I guess she didn't mention how long she was gonna be.
You've all grown up together, yes. So
Yeah.
I know, it is me we're talking about.
Yeah.
About signals or something for situations like this.
Mm-hmm. All right.
Usually a really good signal is a scream.
The last signal. The last signal was great.
Just default to the classic caca.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think you can be nice, and I'll be kind of grumpy, and yeah, I think just say why we're here, and maybe they'll just give us a bag of gold and we can leave and it'll be fine and there won't be any corpses attacking us or anything.
Mhm. Before we knock on the door, Calla Lily will pause and be like, "Do you think I'll need armor?"
I mean, maybe it would just make us look more like we mean business.
Okay. And so she'll touch your chest and cast mage armor. Just in case.
Very well.
We don't know.
Yeah.
Your iridescent armor springs up as usual.
Hortense is gonna draw the scimitar and not hold it threateningly, but just I'm just casually holding a scimitar like you do when you knock on someone's door.
Casually holding a naked blade. So, all right, very well. And you're going to knock on the door?
Mm-hmm.
There is a large... In fact, I should mention, when you set off, you walk through the gate, which is the big iron gate that's surrounding the property. On either side of you, this very sort of tinny sound of moaning, just on either side, but it's not fully, it sounds artificial. Then as you reach the front door, there are, on either of these big double doors, there are huge brass rings with sort of sneering gargoyle faces holding them.
I'll knock with the big knocker.
We cut to inside, where Violette, you snuck in, and the first thing you saw was, yes, this was a kitchen/pantry area.
She definitely
storage.
picked up any kind of breadcrumbs or anything as snacking on them because she's a bird.
I mean, it's fully stocked. I mean, you could probably find whatever sort of preserved food you want. There seems to be, in this pantry area especially, preserves, dried fruit. There are nuts. There are seeds, for example.
Yeah, she's doing the dried fruit and nuts grazing that you do when you go to a grocery store and you're like, I'm just gonna take some of these.
Yeah. So you just grab one of these jars of nuts and then empty some fruit into it and shake it up, and then you've just got just eating that as you wander through. As you sneakily wander through someone else. I'm going to let you keep going on that excellent stealth that you had earlier.
Thank you.
So,
I appreciate that.
So yeah, you're doing this, but it's like you're silently moving through this house. As I say, from the pantry, it leads into a kitchen. It looks like that back door was used to load supplies and stuff in. There also, on your path around, you did see that there was a large pair of doors that probably looked like they led down to a basement, but those were very heavily padlocked.
Mm-hmm.
And as you're moving through this kitchen area out into a hall, you hear a boom, boom, boom on the front door.
I'm gonna pause and then look around to see if anyone's responding to it.
Doesn't seem like it. You sort of freeze. You probably get into an alcove somewhere you can hide.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing happens. I assume after a time, Calla Lily and Hortense knock again, so the knock comes again.
Yeah, if nobody's coming, then I will just go up to the door and open it. What's up?
And yeah, that's what you see. Violette, the doors creak open, and there's Violette standing there. So,
You want some nuts?
No, I'm okay, thank you.
Pop them in her mouth.
So I guess you went inside.
Yeah, I wasn't gonna, but then the door was open, and then I got a snack, and then I saw you. So we could probably just come in. There was a very heavily padlocked door that I really want to try and open.
I mean, it is a little suspicious that there was a door that was just open.
It's not trespassing if the door is open for you. That's what I heard.
I don't think that's true. But
I'm sure that you and Hortense could argue for that.
I mean, if we haven't gotten caught, you're probably legally fine.
Anyway, and she pokes her head out the door and waves at everybody.
I'm just I'm just realizing that's very true. Nothing is illegal if
Until
you
you're
don't get
caught.
Don't
caught.
get caught.
Yeah.
Here's a question: when Violette opened the front door, was it locked at all? Did she
Oh
have to
yeah.
unlock it, or did it just pull
Oh
right
yeah,
open?
you did. It was barred from the inside, so to
Oh
open
yeah.
it, you
So
had to like, open up the
one-handed, she's
door.
got her jar of nuts, and the other hand is like.
So the front door was still secured, but the back door was open.
Yeah.
Got it.
Yes.
Hmm.
In fact, yeah, you probably had to do. There were a couple of chains and things like that you had to take down. And
Well, I'm
it's
also
yeah, the front
so I
front
think
door
the
seemed
locks
quite.
are pretty fine for me. I do have the ability to thieve if we need to unlock the other one. I could try it out. I can make a roll.
Mhm.
think
I
we should
would
give
say
everyone-
maybe we should be a little concerned about leaving evidence if there is foul play that we did not commit, but we happen upon breaking into this house.
we also have documentation of why we're here, and it could also be, we have a necromancer with an unknown artifact. It could be considered a welfare check.
Okay.
I'd say with the wave over, Cornette has sort of like gently acknowledged Pegasi, and the two of us will make our way over there as well.
So you're all standing. Oh, go on.
Sorry, I would just like to retcon or ask if I could retcon that I didn't specifically put it on my character sheet, but I wonder if I might have thieves' tools.
I think it
It's part
very
of
likely
supplies.
that.
Okay.
Yeah,
I was
and
just
and
like,
you had plenty of opportunity. Like before the last one, they were like, literally, "Is there any equipment you need?"
Okay.
So yeah,
yeah, I
you
just
could have
wanted
easily-
to. I was just like, I haven't said anything about it, but I'm a thief.
Mhm.
It would be
Yes,
just
I
asking,
think you have.
just acting
You would
before it
definitely.
literally comes up. So yeah, okay.
So you're all standing in the entranceway of this tower. And as mentioned, you can see that there's rooms beyond, like leading that kitchen area and the pantry. There is a large circular staircase going spiraling upwards along the inside wall. And from here, Violette, you can see that room that you saw before. The door is open. You see the rug in front of it is kind of in disarray, and you can see some of the mess that you saw from the window into this study beyond.
Yeah, and so Violette just like casually, very comfortable in someone else's home, like toes open the door and is like, "Do you think necromancers are usually this much of a mess? Or, I mean, this kind of looks like the kind of mess you might get if someone were looking for something, someone that didn't live here. I would never leave a mess like this, obviously,
Are there
unless it were
things
my own home, in which case I would. But Cornette would clean it up, so no problems there."
Oh.
No problems for me.
Are there things broken in the study?
Yeah, so you're entering the room?
Yeah, I like toe open the door and like give a quick, like a little bit of a more thorough look before
Sure. So
I.
as you're actually getting closer to the entranceway of this room, as mentioned, the rug in the hall, like leading up to it, is in disarray. You can see there's like smears of something on the ground, some sort of dark liquid.
That's not
and-
jam. Probably.
It is not jam. It is not jam. And having seen blood and combat recently, you're like, I'm pretty sure that's blood on the ground.
Okay, I just want to say that I've read a lot of scary stories with, monsters and dead and stuff, and we shouldn't split up, and don't ever say I'll be right back.
Okay.
Okay.
Noted. Yes.
Here's my thing. Now this looks like blood. We've seen some blood recently, but also this is a necromancer's tower. So like, maybe his maid just took the week off. Who's to say? But signs are kind of racking up as to it not being a great time over here. Maybe this guy was in danger. Maybe he would have paid.
It seems like he might have based on his previous payment history. But also, wasn't there supposed to be a butler and a maid And
Mhm.
apprentices. This house is very empty.
Yes. Where did everyone go?
Well, they could be upstairs. They could be in that locked up basement. There's a lot of places we haven't gone yet. Maybe they're all having a silent disco and they can't hear anybody coming to the door.
I
These
would
things happen.
I would guess the basement's probably like not study type workspace, like dead body type workspace.
Morgue space.
Question: Have you entered the room yet? This is what I've described as just like on the outside the room.
Oh, sorry. No, I was kind of having a distracting conversation, but
I will say
feel
that
like-
Cornette has gone into the room
Oh, Cornette
because
has been. Okay.
he's exactly examining the books on the bookshelf.
Well, now, Cornette, when you walked into this room,
Yeah, what could happen?
it's immediately apparent that there was some kind of struggle in this room. From the window, Violette could see like, oh, there's some books on the floor and stuff, but no, there's like overturned chairs. There's some smashed glassware. There is that, again, this liquid on the ground. You can see smears of it. If you had to guess, you might think that maybe something that was bloody was dragged across this floor.
Does it seem like an apparent direction, like it was going from one side to the other?
And it's basically, it looks like it was dragged in through the door, and then it basically stops at a bookcase beside the fireplace.
Secret door. Secret door.
Secret door. Secret door. Secret door. We'll start. The two of us start trying every book.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're just like.
I'm a pro with secret doors.
Yeah. Well, you know something, because you're literally doing every book and you're being methodical. I'm going to say, you eventually hit it. You eventually hit a book that goes the bookcase. It just goes, and as might be expected, there are stairs leading down, and there is more of this material on the stairs.
Do you think maybe if the necromancer isn't like totally dead, that we could apprentice here? Because this place is sick.
Just contemplating that, Cornette lights his hand with the light spell, and then we'll start to slowly look down. Is it a staircase?
I will like
or
motion for
hallway?
people to follow us because there's a secret door.
It is a stairway spiraling down.
Yo, there's a secret door.
And so it's a very tight spiral. So basically, it's like a shaft descending into the earth with a spiral staircase within it.
Gotcha.
Pegasi and I are probably gonna have to duck.
Yeah. Yeah, and then a Cornette will, as much as he can, take the lead, but I assume Violette would also be. They're like the two of them pushing for.
Yeah, I
who's-
think this is the
Okay.
twin thing where we're both as excited, and so
Yeah.
we're both making each other go faster, and so we're
Right.
kind of like leaving other people
Face to
behind
face.
in our excitement.
I will
Very well.
follow right behind them,
Yeah.
and I'm going to cast dancing lights. So each of the four of us who don't have the light spell will have like a little glowing globe of light to be able to see.
So, so we've just passed through a secret door, and we've got a marching order. It's an RPG
Yeah!
now, I tell you. So I've got Cornette with the light. Violette, basically, you can't quite go side by side because it's narrow, but Violette right there, and then Hortense. And where do Calla, Lilly, and Pegasi fit in?
I don't mind being at the back.
I was also gonna volunteer to be at the back because I've got dark vision, so I don't really need to
Oh yeah.
be within the light.
Everyone
We
gets their own
we
little-
each have our own orb now of light.
Ah,
But you can be in the back if you like. I can be next to last.
sure.
Okay, and Pegasi with Calla, Lilly bringing up the rear.
I mean, Calla, with your little dragon, you potentially have eyes in the back of your head. So
That's
true.
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 Mhm.
Shimmer's looking behind me as I'm looking forward.
Now, can you look through your eyes and Shimmer's eyes at the same time?
Not at the same time, no. I just
But
assumed
Shimmer
to, like,
could,
pot
Shimmer
me.
could, tap you on the shoulder if like there's something coming. Like I
Yeah.
think Shimmer can do that.
Shimmer
So-
knows the noise. Whoop, 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 whoop,
Yeah.
whoop.
I taught her that noise.
Just
That's her signal now.
checking Pathfinder Nexus, all of
Oh,
the
yeah.
lights need to be within 10 feet. So the first light and the last light can only be 10 feet apart. So they might be clustered a little closer together than the group.
Okay,
so
got it.
they'll be.
Yeah.
They're basically centered around whoever I guess the middle person is.
And if there's
and-
5 of us with like a foot between each of us, that's
Mm.
Yeah,
about
I mean,
10.
Yeah, so you're all doing it very
Yeah.
Scooby Doo style.
Yeah,
going
Yeah,
down
very.
yeah.
stairs quite close to each other.
Except for
And-
there's the bird that's like jumping and fluttering and occasionally like running up a little bit on the wall when Cornette gets too slow. Like,
So you're all making your way down. Could I get roll perception, please? Roll,
Come on, die.
D20 plus your perception.
Don't fail me, die. It's
okay,
your chance
that
to redeem
is
yourself.
23.
Oh my
Ooh.
god.
Wow.
Oh no.
Calla-
Okay, any-
Oh, Calla Lily got a 16.
Cool. So who was it with the 23?
Bluejay, it's me.
Oh,
Yeah.
sorry. Again, you're a little out of sync.
Oh,
so I can't
right,
see
yes.
You raised your hand. Sorry about that. So yes, that means that you are the first one to hear it, Violette. You've got just at the, you're very excited and you're making some noise yourself, but you can hear it. It's like a rhythmic thumping, like just. And it seems to be coming from down the stairs.
Yeah, and I think that like because Violette is excited, but she's also like, I mean, we know that we're in someone else's house and stuff. So like once she like hears this almost instinctively, like she starts to match her own noises to the thumping and then notices through her own gait changing that she was hearing something. And so then she like kind of like pats on Cornette's shoulder and just like pauses everybody else like with a hand up because like we've probably like I talk a lot but we have communicated like quietly before, and so she like puts one hand up to gesture to everyone to stop, and then she like slowly like in the same rhythm as the creature to kind of give everyone an indication of what she's hearing. And probably
Who said it's a creature?
Oh,
well,
yeah,
whatever
whatever.
it is, in the rhythm of that noise, she like moves so that she's like, okay, this is what I'm hearing, and then it would indicate to them to hear it as well, maybe.
Yes, I think with your attention drawn to it and everybody, stops for a second, that yes, you all can hear it now too. This.
And then I would probably like wave at the dancing light to ask Hortense to like get it to move away if she can. And then I
can move the lights back too.
And then I would like, gesture to everyone to wait
We'll
and
stay.
just like sneak a little further down the stairs to see if I can see something.
Very well. So I will need a stealth roll from you.
Yes.
please.
We're gonna back the lights up about 50 feet.
And Cornette
Cool,
will
sounds good.
extinguish the light spell.
Gotcha. You're all in the darkness in a haunted house.
It's fine. Everything's fine.
It's not fine. I rolled a 2.
Oh no!
Oh no.
So that's altogether that's a 9 just for stealth.
Yeah, you basically your toe hit something on the stair. You think it was a piece of bone or
Yeah.
something, and it just goes. And you're like, it wasn't super loud, but I bet if someone was listening, they heard that.
And I listen.
Unabated.
And then I will like, even though my stealth is not great, just like slowly continue this time watching for pieces of bone.
Okay, well, I mean, we're still working on a 9 stealth, so
I
I
mean,
think
you can't make
just,
it. Yeah.
you keep finding pieces of bone. There's not just like, oh, jeez, oh, ah,
It's like she's like wincing.
son of a, yeah, all the way down. As
Yeah, I can't make it better. I'm
you
sorry.
reach the bottom,
I'm still probably our
and-
best stealth.
there is a door which is hanging off one hinge,
I'll give it.
and the pounding sound is coming from beyond there.
I'll give a look. See.
How far ahead of the rest of the group are you?
I mean, how much farther down the stairs was this noise?
So basically everybody else stopped and you
stopped.
went down for as
Mhm.
far as it took.
Mhm.
So yeah, you're probably down another 20 or 30 feet.
That's
to
fine.
the bottom of
Yeah.
the stair.
That's like I would
And
I would
then-
hesitate to go further than one round ahead, so like 25 feet.
Okay.
Yeah.
Within about 10 feet of the bottom of the stairs is this door,
Okay.
which is hanging on one hinge.
And
And as you approach, you kind of look through, and I just have to check someone's perception.
Yeah. No, that's good.
Excuse me.
Excellent.
Probably better than that. Right. So, as you look through, you can see what seems to be storage. There are a lot of glass beakers. You can also see stacked neatly in a lot of these shelves bleached bones, and they look to have been separated out. And so they've just like a row of just skulls, a row of femurs, and it looks like someone might be able to assemble skeletons from these. And also that someone went to the trouble of boiling or somehow otherwise removing all the flesh from these bones. Speaking of bones, in the corner of this room is a battered wooden wardrobe. It is battered because its doors are being battered on by an animated skeleton. Just banging on the door. Its back is to you currently. But as you walk into the room, another piece of bone, you kick another piece of bone. It's because you're still on a 9 stealth. And this thing just sort of like stops and drops its arms.
Whoops.
And turns around to face you.
Fancy meeting you here.
It's draw jobs. And you're not sure how this sound is being produced because it's just a skeleton. There's no throat, there's no vocal cords or flesh or anything, but magically somehow it makes this hissing noise. And I think it's time to enter initiative.
That sounds great. That sounds like a good plan. Yeah, let's do that.
Yeah. So everybody else, just know that you are about 30 feet away.
Okay.
From Bluejay's position, or Violette's position. From Bluejay's character's position.
Also, it may be good to note if it's better than your perception score, you may be able to use like a stealth or something here.
Yes, because
For
you
your
were
initiative.
engaging in stealth.
Oh.
So if anyone wants to sub stealth for their perception in this initiative roll, they are free to do so.
Okay. Yeah, then I have a 17.
17 for you. That's okay.
If I
Violet?
sub stealth for perception, Hortense has a 24.
Woo!
24 for Hortense.
Wait, what's your stealth?
+5.
Wow, I didn't know you were so sneaky.
Cat-like feet.
Yes.
Calla Lilly?
An 8.
8 for Calla Lilly. Pegasi?
I finally rolled better. I got a 21 total.
21 for Pegasi. And what about for you, Cornette?
A strong 13.
13.
Strong.
Strunk. No, he's dead.
Strong is dead. Perforated. And you'll all be pleased to hear that, well, almost all of you have done better than this skeleton. So, could you please tell me what you would like to do, Hortense? You basically hear this, the pounding stops, and you hear very clearly this.
Hortense is going to stride very quickly down the stairs to reach Violette. And at that point, I assume I can see the skeleton.
You have reached the bottom of the stairs, but there was still another 10 feet that Violette had to go before getting to the being able to see the skeleton. So if you want, you're basically if you use one of your movement, you're at the bottom of the stairs.
Okay, is it possible to delay in case something comes into view?
Yes, you could. You could delay your action.
Okay, yeah, I'll delay my other 2 actions until something comes into view.
Yeah, you can see Violette from where you are, who's sort of crouched and peering around a door, and seems to have what sort of expression does Violette have on her face?
Sorry, I think it's the caught with your hand in the cookie jar kind of expression. So she's not necessarily looking like I'm afraid for my life. More like, whoops, this is not a great time. I mean, I've never encountered a skeleton before, but one seems less threatening than the 8 or however many goblins we just had, so yeah. Caught in the cookie jar expression.
Very good. So that was Hortense. You were delaying Pegasi.
Okay. Well, still in the stairwell, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think Pegasi is going to pull out a little mutagen this one. So it's like, I think the mutagens are going to be, instead of like cute little roundish potion bottles, they're in test tubes. And so she pulls out a test tube from her pouch and she pops it open. And this one is like a viscous, silvery, swirly color, and it kind of moves on its own. And when she takes it, all 3 of the trees that make up her body get long and like thinner and become almost wavy and flexible. So she's taking the Quicksilver mutagen.
And what are the effects of the Quicksilver version?
So it says your features become thin and angular, you become swifter and nimbler, but your body also becomes fragile. And the benefit, I get a +1 benefit on things like acrobatics, stealth, thievery, reflex, and dexterity-based attack rolls. And again, and then I get
including the bomb thrower, I assume.
I suppose so. And then I get a bonus to my speed +5 feet, which is why I'm doing this, really, because I want to get in there quicker.
So you've taken the mutagen. That is an action. You've got 2 left. What would you like to do?
I would like to move into the doorway. And I think
so. Yeah, you get another 5 feet further. So yeah, I'm gonna say that basically, the skeleton is basically in your view. You're just sort of like, you're not quite up at the door, but you're close to it.
Great. And then I think I'm gonna see if I can remain hidden from the skeleton. So I'd like to use my last action to try to sneak the rest of the way.
Cover,
yeah, find cover.
Very well.
All right. So I get a +1.
And are you like hiding as in I want to be stealthy, or I'm hiding I just want to get behind something?
My purpose is to wait until there's a good moment to attack this thing. So if that means
I'd say
cover,
stealth.
maybe? Stealth, okay.
Yeah, and as I mentioned, this is like a storage room, so there are crates and boxes that you can easily duck behind.
Lovely. All right. Okay, come on, die. Keep rolling well. Better. 11.
You're not sure how stealthy you are about it, but you do essentially have cover. So
okay.
Yes. Yeah.
All right.
So, from ranged attacks, especially, that helps. Violette, what would you like to do?
Okay,
You
so
are
I
in
am
the doorway.
in the doorway. I'm being confronted by the skeleton. Ordinarily, I've had it drummed into me that you wait to be attacked before attacking, but this is a skeleton. So I think that it's still a part of her being to want to do things flashily. So she's going to attempt to tumble through the skeleton's space. So it's an acrobatics check against his reflex.
Very well.
Do you kick down the door as you do it? It's just like, ka-cha!
I think she's more about the jump, like slipping,
Through the
jumping,
hole.
twisting. Yeah. Less athletics, more acrobatics. So yes, I will roll acrobatics. That is a 16 against the enemy's reflex DC.
And how? Wait, no, this can't be right. Oh, God. Whew, I was on the wrong sort of skeleton. It was like, he can't get a +10 to that, can he? There's certain types of skeletons that can. Not this guy, though. So what was your result, sorry?
I got a 16.
16 beats him.
Okay, so I basically, like, I approach him and then, like, roll duck dart through his space legs, come up on the other side of him, and then will attempt to attack.
Very well.
I have panache now because I did a little tumble through. I'm going to do a regular attack first, and then I have a second attack, which I can do, which I could try and do the finisher on, I think. Okay. Regular old attack. Let's try. 14 plus 7. Does that hit? That's
14.
23.
14 plus 7, 20. 14 plus 7, 21, right?
Okay, 21. I can't math. Don't
21.
try and-
No worries. You still hit regardless. You hit with plenty to spare.
Okay, so that's just 1d6 plus 2.
Oop, that's the floor. Floor dice.
Oh no.
Not floor dice.
That's 5 damage, piercing plus precision damage.
What is your precision damage?
I think it's also piercing. I just get it because it's precise strike. So I think it's just
Okay.
piercing. 5 piercing damage. And then, so I would like to make a second attack, which has
Now,
less of
here's
a
the thing.
bonus. What?
Here's the thing.
Oh.
You're attacking a skeleton
Yeah.
with a rapier
Right.
that doesn't really have many things to puncture, and it's basically just
That's-
attacking bone. So it actually does have resistance to piercing attacks. In fact, it seems like that attack did not do much to it at all.
Makes xylophone noises.
Okay.
Xylophone.
I will. Here's the thing that sometimes doesn't make sense to me about D&D stuff. Like, I have a rapier, I have a dagger, and then I also have a wakizashi, which does slashing damage. But was I like strapped to the gills with everything before we came in here, or like?
I'll let you know. I'll be a nice DM and let you know that this thing, and you'd probably be able to infer this just because of what it looks like. It has resistance to both piercing and slashing damage.
So it doesn't really matter.
It doesn't really matter. in this case.
The
And,
only
you
other
know,
option is unarmed for me.
And I never get too caught up in.
My beak
encumbrance
also
thing.
does piercing
I
damage.
usually let people video game it. It's just like, yeah, I got this and I get this and I can
Sure,
pull
sure.
this weapon.
Okay, well,
Yeah.
everything I have is either piercing or slashing, so it doesn't really matter. So I'll just continue with the rapier then. Notice that it's a stinky boy and doesn't like it, but also realize I don't have a ton of other options.
Gotcha.
So then I will go for the second attack, which I'm going to attempt to do a finisher, but I have only a +2 on this one.
Gotcha.
Well, I got an 18, so that's a 20 to hit.
You do hit him.
Okay,
What's
and
the
then I will
damage
do. It's not a crit, right?
Not a crit.
Okay, so then just 3d6. Only 3d6. But I suppose I'll need all of that. 10 damage. 10 piercing damage.
10 piercing damage. So
Which is less than that, but it's still what I got.
there you go. All right. So
And that's
yeah,
my
you do.
Full.
You did a fair bit of. You did more damage this time. So some of it did, manage to crack some of the bones and whatnot, but it seems to still be on its feet.
I like poke my rapier in and then I go like. Yeah, so that's my 3 actions.
That is Violette.
And I'm
Cornette.
behind it now.
Gotcha. And Cornette.
Cornette is going to use 2 actions to move, and so he'll move down the stairs and then towards that doorway again to sort of catch up with everything.
Yeah, you can easily. So, how much movement do you have total?
That would be 50, right? 25, 25.
All right. So, 30 of it gets you down to the bottom of the stairs, and then you can easily catch up to Violette and basically. Well, she had to go into the room to attack it. So
Sure. If I have
Yeah.
enough movement with that, I would love to go into the room to flank the skeleton on the other side.
you can, with that extra 20 feet of movement, you can easily flank the skeleton.
And as that happens, he sort of nods at Hortense and Pegasi of like, here we go, and will extend one of his hands out to touch the skeleton physically, and uses the last action to cast a 1-action heal on the skeleton.
Very, very wise. Because as Cornette is obviously aware, this is positive energy, and the skeleton, it runs on negative energy. So healing magic actually damages it. How much do you damage it by?
It does 1d10, but it also has to make a fortitude save. DC 16?
It has made it save.
Oh, okay. It takes 6 positive damage.
6
I believe
positive damage.
doubles. So it's 12 total.
12 points of damage total.
Mhm.
What does it look like when Cornette destroys this skeleton by healing it?
So it's very much like Cornette is as soon as he had seen that it was like an undead creature, had calmly made his way down the stairs and slowly opened the door, saw Violette sort of twirling her rapier inside of the bone cage of this thing, sets a silent hand on it, and there's like a radiance that comes out of Cornette's body that surges through, and all of the cracks that Violette had made suddenly glow with a yellow and gold light, and the whole thing just turns to dust, and there's a gold glitter that sparkles down.
And it gets on everything. You're never going to
It's everywhere.
And yes, that is exactly what happens, as this skeleton is no more.
Cornette. That was surprising.
A look of it looks like surprising to Cornette as well, but he'll take the high five.
So
like,
if we find more skeletons here, they can be healed to end them.
Cornette makes the gesture of a need to rest.
Oh, yes. Well, I can.
Yes.
I have a couple of elixirs of life today.
Mhm.
Thankfully, I prepared those today.
Can we look
And
around the room, I guess? Or...
Yeah, I will
th-
point
I
out
mean,
the wardrobe that the skeleton was banging on and be like, he seemed to be occupied with that.
you do hear from within the wardrobe what sounds like a desperately muttered prayer. Oh, please don't show me that.
Hello?
Oh! Hello? Hello?
We're not a
Hello?
skeleton.
How that is what a skeleton would say.
Is it?
We're here as representatives
suppose-
of your law firm.
I suppose now that I think of it, they just tend to make a hissing noise. From the law firm of what? What? What was?
I mean,
Shoot,
we
I
don't
think
know
I
that's
was
cadaverous.
wrong.
It could be someone else.
What was it that you actually said? I didn't hear you because it dropped out.
Oh,
What was it?
I'm trying to. I always get the order wrong when I say
Yeah.
it.
Wait, I
Hortense
wrote it
was,
down.
Feather,
Uh,
whisker, and horn.
Feather, whisker, horn.
Feather, whisker, horn.
Okay, so sorry. What did you actually say to him though? Because I didn't hear the.
Oh, we're
what was the
representatives
sentence
of
you
your
said?
law firm.
Like, my love. Oh, you don't understand. I'm Osgood. I'm the butler.
Oh,
Oh.
where is Mr. Cadaverous?
I feel the worst. I feel the worst.
I opened the door to the wardrobe so that we could talk not through a wardrobe.
And you open it to find him cowering basically at the bottom of the wardrobe. You can see that there, when you open the doors, there was some damage done to this. The skeleton had been pounding on it for a while. And he's like, oh, thank the gods you are here. Well, you've been sent by the master's law firm, is that it?
Yes, he's a bit delinquent on his last payment, so we came
Oh.
to remind him about the multiple invoices that have been sent, and then there were skeletons.
I've been here for days. Days, I tell you. If I hadn't had this packet of biscuits and this water skin, I don't know what I would have done.
I hand him my canister of nuts.
From the kitchen.
You also notice that he's been relieving himself in the corner of the wardrobe. He sort of gets away from there. It's like, oh, what an ordeal. Oh, gods. I thought I was done for sure.
Would you like to come out of the wardrobe?
I would indeed, yes.
Yeah.
And he is wearing sort of formal wear, the wear what a butler might wear, waistcoat and whatnot. It is, of course, quite disheveled, and he looks like yeah, he's been through a rough time. It's been several days inside a dark place with something trying to kill him and barely enough sustenance to keep him going.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm. Uh,
There.
yeah, yes,
Do you know where
yes.
anyone
Thank you
else?
for
Sorry.
the cook. The cook is dead.
Oh.
I know that much.
Has the cook
Uh,
always been dead, or is that new?
Oh no, that's new. The master would well, he would scarce. I suppose a skeleton would be fine because they'd be at least hygienic. But no, he was quite alive. Was quite alive. And poor Berta, I don't know what happened to her. I think she fled screaming. I ran down here and found myself trapped. They all went berserk, you see. All of the master's creations.
What do you have an idea of what caused them to go berserk?
I do not know. I know the master was tinkering with something in his laboratory. But, well, they attacked. I have a number of his undead automatons to assist me in household chores, and that one there was folding clothes with me when it suddenly, well, as you saw.
I assume they're not union workers.
I don't understand.
I mean, I think when you're already dead, you can't really be worked to death, so it's probably fine.
Oh, yes, you must understand. The master has explained it to me. Undead of this low standing are, of course, mindless. They are but meat and bone, or in this case, just bone, animated by magic. There's no mind there, no soul, no consciousness.
How many undead workers were there in the house?
At this time, not more than half a dozen or so. Oh, and there were the dogs, of course.
Oh.
Yes, the dogs.
The dogs?
Live or?
Well, they were at one point. The master found it rather hard to let them go. They were quite loyal. They were used to guard the laboratory itself.
And the laboratory was down?
And he just sort of points down.
It's like, yes, through there.
Classic
You'll find-
necromantic basement cooler.
Yes, it does help in the preservation of dead tissue, you understand.
I wouldn't know anything about that. But I know other characters that I've had that might.
Do you have a safe location that's not the wardrobe that you could retreat?
Yes, I'll flee this place entirely if I may.
Cornette gestures for keys.
Keys. Oh, yes, of course.
And like any good butler, he does have a ring of keys, which he hands over to you.
It's like, thank you for my deliverance.
If you don't mind, you could go to the Feather Whisker Horn place and let them know that your boss was not in derelict intentionally.
Oh, it is payments in arrears. Oh, he was always very conscientious regarding those. And I shall clear his name.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever has happened,
the castle.
It obviously stood in the way of him making his payments in a timely fashion.
Do you have money to pay his
Me?
debts? Do you know where he kept his money?
Well, I mean, there is. I do have a household budget. We have some petty cash. How much does he owe? It's several hundred gold pieces.
There's a receipt.
Oh, surely we can handle this sort of thing later in the aftermath of this, yes?
Oh,
But I
yeah,
will-
yeah.
But I just figured
will-
if you knew where the money was, we could bring it back.
Right. Actually, I was going to ask you if you have money for a cab, because I'll get over there much quicker if I'm not forced to go on foot. You have a few coins for a conveyance?
I mean, we have a conveyance.
Did we take any of the money out of the?
Oh yeah,
Yeah, did we get any of that?
Gave it to our
You
men
did
for it.
not.
I
goes
thought
to
you
the
said
firm,
that.
huh?
You did not.
No, I
We
thought
have
you
some
said that.
from the bodies.
You do actually have the stuff that you looted from the bodies because you didn't actually mention that in your
Right.
report. I don't think.
Nope.
I
Uh,
didn't say anything about that.
We had the potion.
but I
we said it.
do seem to recall that at least one of your mentors said something about, well, we understand if you have to loot the body on occasion.
Mhm.
So
I think
Yeah.
what I recall that the two like trunks were brought in by Gigvit, so we don't just have
Mhm.
them sitting in the carriage outside.
No.
Right.
Oh
no,
no,
those were unloaded.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you do have it was like a bit of gold, some
5
silver, and
gold,
copper
yeah.
that you got from.
Mhm.
And I
Yeah.
think that Cornette kept those.
Yes. Yeah. So
Cornette
we
does
can
have all that.
give over. I don't know what could a banana cost? $10.
Yes, it's like, oh, it'll be 5 gold pieces for a carriage.
Oh wow. Okay.
No.
I'd say you could give him, I don't know, like 5 or 10 silver, and that would get him there in style. And
Sure. We
speed.
had 18 silver, so I'll give 10 of those.
He's like, oh yes, of course.
And get yourself a snack. Tosses a copper.
Ooh, I mean, I'll get a banana. You know what the- Actually, bananas are probably pretty expensive. for
Sure.
traveling.
Right
Yeah.
here, yeah, probably.
Yeah. So he it's still fretting and still quite clearly shaken by what he's experienced. He knows the way, obviously. He just heads out. You can tell that he's headed for the secret door and for upstairs.
Mhm.
So you now find yourselves in possession of this ring of keys. And you also have directions. He's basically indicated where there are stairs leading further down.
And that
Well-
there will be dogs.
There
Undead.
will apparently be dogs that were once alive.
Don't like
I mean,
dogs.
does anyone have do you think an undead dog would still want a bone? Or
think
I
it
could
just
take
needs
this femur or maybe 2 femurs? Just see.
I don't think it would hurt to bring them.
Yeah.
Okay. And then I start juggling a few.
What you do with the plot?
So then,
Okay.
yeah, I guess leading the way again, I'll light and go back towards where that locked off area was and seeing if there's a key on the ring that matches the padlock.
So, sorry, which locked off area do you want to go to?
Is that where they gestured where the lab was, or is that down here?
Oh, actually, now that you're in this area that had like a lot of storage in it, Violette, you basically, you remember outside you seeing those like sort of like cellar door style that were
Right.
padlocked shut. You can see the inside of them here.
Mm.
Oh,
That's where these doors led down into. This is where they would bring in equipment and stuff like that.
Mhm.
gotcha.
But where the butler pointed to was essentially another door that does seem to be, it's got a keyhole anyway.
Mhm.
And he seemed to indicate that stairs down would be found behind that.
Gotcha. And with complete
Mhm.
confidence, just totally unlocks it. There couldn't be a trap here.
No, 100% no traps.
So with complete confidence, you just put a random key in.
One that
And
matches.
it doesn't. It
That
doesn't.
fits.
Well, it's kind of hard to do. Yeah. So
I'll go
you know,
through.
it's
Yeah,
a ring
I'll
of
take a
keys.
10.
So you go through, and yes, taking time. You do hear a click, and the door is opened. Leading down, there is a staircase, much like the one that you saw before.
We could assemble maybe the same marching order.
Very well.
Sure.
So I've got that already.
And I still head the lights out back because they're just a sustained cantrip. So I'll just bring those back.
Very well. They come up, floating up to you.
And we'll cautiously
And-
make our way down.
Okay. Are you trying to be stealthy as you do this?
I am.
Sure.
Yeah.
Is there something where this may be me mixing up my mechanics, but where one person can roll for the whole group, like, or that may be a group tactics type of thing, but where like we want to take on Violette's stealth, and we all work together.
Do you have the
Yeah.
specific name of that mechanic?
I don't know. I think it's
'Cause
like
I was-
Because
tactics.
we've got it at our fingertips thanks to
Yeah.
Pathfinder Nexus.
But
Yeah.
or we could do the assist mechanic where we try to
Yes, you could.
aid. Mhm.
So, essentially, If we use the assist mechanic, it would be somebody helps, and then the person they're helping gets to be extra stealthy, but it wouldn't necessarily cover the whole group. Do you know the specific name of
I don't.
the thing that you're trying to pull off?
No, I'm sorry.
There's group aid, but that's a human feat, so
Ah.
Oh,
that.
Very well. Okay, so then I'm going to ask for individual stealth rolls.
okay. I'm gonna attempt to not totally fuck up this time.
Don't fuck up.
I didn't fuck up. Okay. I got a 23.
Nice.
Whoa.
23, nice.
Violette disappears into the darkness.
Mhm.
Again, it's pretty dark here. It's like, is Violette still here? There we go.
Hortense got a 17, so not as good, but not too shabby.
Pretty stealthy, pretty stealthy. Everyone else, what are our other results?
A 14 for Cornette, so not great.
14. Growing increasingly less stealthy and more rowdy. What about Calla, Lilly, and Pegasi?
I'm wondering if a hero point is in order.
You know what?
or
Yeah.
Here we are nearing the end of the session. If you
Sure,
have any
they don't
other-
roll over.
I'm gonna
Might as
use
well.
my hero point.
Me too.
Okay, very well.
Oh, that is so much better. That is a 19 as
Nice.
opposed to a
19.
9.
Yeah, well, mine is slightly better, and now I'm at a 9.
This time it's Pegasi who seems to keep finding little loose teeth and pieces of bone and things that are getting kicked down the stairs. And the rest of you who are moving very silently up ahead are like, just, oh, come on, come on.
I'm so sorry. I'm
I
sorry.
might, if
loud.
that were the case, I might try and like create a little more distance.
Mm.
Sure, yeah. Once that
And you're
first one,
gone.
you're just like, nope, and you're just whoop, 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 as you stealth ahead. You don't get very far ahead before you reach the bottom of this set of stairs.
Okay.
There is a door.
Is it locked?
It does seem to be, and cool to the touch.
I know that Cornette has some keys, but I just want to give it a little try. I want to
Sure.
try and I want to give it a little attempt to unlock it myself. Just, gotta practice, right? Gotta
Yeah,
practice.
Right. Could you give me some thievery, please?
I could give you some thievery. Boop, boop, boop.
I always picture the Skyrim thieves' tools. 'cause that was
Yeah,
a
me
good
too. Every
mechanic.
time, every single time. Okay, that's a 20. I did not roll a 20. It's a 13 plus 7.
Okay. You very deftly pull out a long, flexible piece of metal and work it around in the keyhole until you feel the telltale click of the tumblers moving.
And then I
And
just
you're
like very gently, in case it's squeaky, just very open it just a little bit.
Now, I note that you did try to pick the lock, but you did not attempt to search for traps.
No, I did not do that.
And so, as there is a
God
soft
damn it.
hissing sound, your face is suddenly filled with an explosion
Oh, good.
of colored smoke. And the rest of you, of course, also hear this. It's a narrow little stairway as you see this smoke billowing up. And on that note, we are going to pause as we come to the end of this episode of The Claw Firm, Feather, Whisker, and Howl.
You literally
Thank you
said
very
that the
much.
door was cool, and I was like, that's fine.
Fine.
I just wanted to open a cool door.
It was pretty cool. It was
Yeah,
pretty
It was
cool.
pretty cool. It was a cool door.
But we'll see what
Very cool trap.
we'll see what the results of that are and any relevant saving throws, etc.
Okay.
When we rejoin these player characters on the next episode of The Claw Firm. Thank you very much. I've been Mark Meer, your game master.